Okay. Um, we're going to look at the microbit make code environment, and we're just going to talk about radio signals. We're going to look at trying to build a program, maybe an intermediate type program that will sense some light. So this one's going to sense a level of light and then send a message and play a melody to another microbit. So it's sending information from one to another while using the sensor and the ability to play music in this microcontroller called a microbit. So we have our two main loops here, and microcontrollers usually have one, a set of code that will run when you start up, and then usually another set of code that just kind of runs forever. You can also build other inputs because there are a couple devices like buttons on here or light sensors, and you can have when an input happens, something happens. But we're going to start with radio. So on start, we're going to set the radio group, okay? And I guess this is a bit small to start, so I'll zoom in a little. There we go. We're going to set the radio group. Oh, and there's so many different, look, we can go to 255 different levels here. We'll just set it to group 1, okay? And this is, think of this like the wave that it's going to be on. So in order to communicate, both microbits would have to be set to this group. We'll set it to 1. Maybe we'll get, just to make sure that we're turning on and it gives us a visual, happy face, great idea. So when it turns on, we know that the code has been set. We'll get it to pause with that picture for a little bit. Let's pause for 2 seconds with that photo, and then we'll get it to clear the screen. So this block of code is essentially turning on, setting a radio group. So there we go. You can see it's running in the background here. I'll push pause. We'll run it again. So set the radio group to 1, happy face, held it for 2 seconds, and then cleared the screen. So we know that our microbit's on. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to deal with the forever loop here. So we're going to put in a set of code in here. And in this set of code, we want to check a sensor. So on light level. So we want it to check a specific light level. So we're actually going to use an if statement here. If a light level is at a certain number, okay? So if, and we'll use light level, but we also need another conditional from the logic here. So if, and we're going to say equal or greater than, so I'm going to use this comparison one. This is a Boolean operator here. So I'm going to say greater than. If the light level is greater than, let's say, 130. I'm doing that purposely just because of what the default tends to be. I think it's about 128, the light level on these. So if the light level is greater than 130, then we want to send a radio signal, okay? We want to send, we could say a number, okay? Send the number, we'll say the number 5. That's just an arbitrary value. It's going to send the radio number 5 out. Otherwise, it'll do it for a second. We'll do the same thing. We'll have it, and you'll notice the light level in the top left corner just showed up, 128. So I did that purposely. So we're a little above that. We'll send that message for 2 seconds again, and then we'll clear the inputs again. See, because there's no input, we don't have to clear a screen. So we'll pause for 2000, and then it'll check the light level. So essentially what's happened is every 2 seconds, it's checking the light level to see if it's changed or not. The next thing we need to do, and it might seem a little counterintuitive, but we're actually going to put this code on all of our microbits. So I'm going to code the receiving part in this also. So I'm going to go into a radio, and then on radio receive, not string, but number. Here we go. So on radio receive number, if, same logic loop, if, and remember we're sending out the number 5. So same concept, this time will be an equal sign. If the received number, I'm going to pull it down here, is equal to 5, okay, sorry about that beeping here, we're going to play a melody. We're going to start melody, we'll call it da-dum. Same concept, I'm going to pause for 2 seconds. So I've duplicated that block. You can just right click on a block. You'll get a list of options of what you can do with it. Add a comment, delete the block, okay? I duplicated it. And then, again, we don't have to clear the screen on this one. So you'll notice this is showing up. Swan radio received. Here we go. So we stop. Is it able to play? Set radio group to 1. Okay, let's pause this for a second. Actually, sorry. Let's move the light level up a bit. So we know the radio signal got sent. We will send number on receive number. If it's equal to 5, then start melody. Okay. Sorry guys, I had trouble there. I'm actually going to bring the pause outside this loop here. And I played with it and figured out what I'd done wrong. So I'm going to remove this icon and show you guys just quickly. Just like we put a picture in here, just to make sure we know it's working, I'm going to add in a picture. So if the icon's received, let's give it a heart. Sure, why not? And then once that's done, we're going to get it to also pause. We'll get to pause for maybe 2 seconds. Okay, and then finally we'll clear that screen just in case it stops. Okay, so out of the loop. There we go. Okay, if I hit play, nothing's showing up right now at the moment. The face turned on, but I'm going to bring it over 130. And you see as that went, there we go, our second microbit showed up. Okay, now we have 2 microbits going, so that means it's sending the radio signal. I apologize, it's a bit annoying. I guess we'll turn the light down again. There we go. It took a little. So you'll see this little, almost looks like a pulse width modulation here. It's got like a very on and off antenna here. Both of these microbits are actually coded with this. So we're building the same code, and when I turn the light a little brighter in this one, it should send the signal. There we go. And now the audio is being played through this one here. So the heart means we know we got it. Let's turn that down, and I'll say that again. Because it's happening every 2 seconds, it's going over. There we go. So here's our code. So we've built essentially a communication device between both. We would, in the physical environment, we'll download this code to both of them, and they communicate to each other. If one of the light sensors is higher than the level of 130, it'll send it to the other one, and you'll get the audio play to it, and vice versa. Okay? Hopefully that helps with the radio signal transmitting and using a light sensor and a melody. So you're thinking of like a visual, we're talking about audio information, and using radio communication, and a couple pictures too.